Smallville, ranking the seasons. Hello and welcome to this week's video. Now this week I thought I'd do a video about a show I've not talked about much before. Smallville, the Superman show that ran for 10 seasons from 2001 to 2011. Now the reason I've not talked about it very much is that, well, I haven't watched it for a very long time. I watched it when it was on, and I watched it the whole way through, and then when it was over I just never had any particular desire to watch it again, at least not until late last year. I guess probably partly down to just the lack of things on TV these days that are worth watching. I thought, you know what, I think I'll give Smallville another try. It's been a long time. I watched the whole thing. There must have been something to it. So I bought the box set and I started watching it, and I ended up binge watching most of the second half of the series especially. So I thought I'd give my opinions on which I think were the best and worst seasons, and I'm sure it will piss people off as usual. Okay, at 10th place, my least favourite season, probably season 9. I have to be honest, season 9 is where the show began to go downhill for me. There's not much to choose between it and 10, to be honest. It's so many of the cast have gone at this point, and it's starting to feel very tired and very divorced from, well, the show that it was. And that's always a point when I tend to start getting a little bit, this isn't the show I came in with. There are other reasons why this is at the bottom. I don't like the overall story arc. Although I like Callum Blue as an actor, he was great in Dead Like Me. I thought he was completely miscast as Zod. I just did not buy him as the villain. I mean, Zod's supposed to be like one of the ultimate villains. He just, well, he wasn't no Terrence Stamp. That's all I'm saying. I just never got the gravitas and the menace from him. Again, the writing didn't help. The character didn't really do all that much up until like the last few episodes. He made an awful lot of speeches and he was pontificating a lot, but he didn't really actually do all that much. And again, the overall arc just didn't really interest me all that much. Sorry, no, not a fan. This was when my energy really began to flag. 9th place I'm giving to season 10, just slightly above 9, solely because we do get John Glover back for a few episodes as Lionel Luthor, albeit evil Lionel Luthor from an alternate reality. But hey, any excuse to get John Glover back, who's eating up the scenery, is a perfectly valid one as far as I'm concerned, and that's pretty much the only thing that lifts this slightly above 9. Again, I find most of the story arcs this season really tedious. The regular cast, which was a large ensemble cast for a long time, is now basically down to 4.5. The 0.5 being Chloe, who's barely present in the season. Presumably Alison Mack was off running her sex cult or something. Okay, that's a slightly awkward moment we'll gloss over. But yeah, watching the early seasons again, I was like, why haven't I watched this for so long? Because I was really enjoying them. I'm like, this is way better than I remember, and this is way better than I thought. Why haven't I been I think it was those last 2 seasons. They really just killed my freaking enthusiasm and my interest. And when it was over, it's like, yeah, I don't want to watch that again. And it's like, that's not the whole show. I mean, if it'd been the whole show, I wouldn't have watched the whole show. No, it's those last 2 seasons. They just really... I'm sorry, but without Lana and Lex and Lionel, it just, yeah. And even his parents to a degree as well. Yeah, it just started to lose my interest a lot. Sorry if you love those seasons. Not for me. 8th place. I'd give it to season 1. I know that's fairly low, but I kind of like season 1. I mean, it's flawed. It owes arguably more to Buffy than it does to Superman in season 1. because it feels very much like a Buffy ripoff, albeit with Clark Kent there instead of Buffy, and the kryptonite is basically the Hellmouth that gives the excuse of why there are so many things happening in this supposedly small town. It's very much full of standalone episodes, much like season 1 of Buffy. It's not as good as season 1 of Buffy, but I still kind of like it. It feels fresh. I mean, there are some issues. I mean, yeah, Whitney was a completely non-existent character. It's so obvious that he was going to get let go after one season. It's like, why is this character there? And why did it take you so long to realize that you should have John Glover in there as a regular? But for all of that, again, it does feel very fresh, as flawed as it is. And I would certainly rather watch season 1 again than sit through 9 or 10 again anytime soon. Sorry. 7. This is a tough one. Season 4, maybe? I like season 4. The introduction of Lois is good. Most of the stories are good. The overall magic arc with Lana, and then with the character played by Jensen Ackles, who's so memorable I can't even remember the character's name. That whole thing is just completely pointless. It's completely random, completely pointless, and it's like, why? Why? Even the Jensen Ackles character is like so weirdly developed, because he starts off and it's like he's this nice guy. It's so weird because it's not like they don't even pull like he was a bad guy all along. It's first off he seems like he's a good guy, then it seems like he's a good guy who's being manipulated by his mother, who doesn't know, he's in the middle of something and he doesn't know why or what's happening, but strings are being pulled above his head, and then suddenly in the last third of the season he's killing people and he's just evil. And it's not like we see him kind of flip to evil. It's not like we even get any kind of, no, he was just pretending the whole time. No, he just suddenly flips and becomes fully on board with whatever the hell's going on. That's really weird. That whole character just goes nowhere. And I love Lana. I know some fans have problems with Lana. I don't see what the problem is personally. But her entire storyline in that season is just like, what the fuck? What was that all about? Why? But again, for the most part, there's a lot of fun standalone episodes. There's a lot of fun stories in there. And some of the arcs are decent. Just those things that are just kind of, what? 6. I guess I'd go with season 7. No, 6, I'd go with season 8. Sorry, I'll go with season 8 at 6. I actually liked 8 a lot more than I was expecting to, considering that, again, that we lost like half the fucking cast and half the best characters. You know, it's not like, oh, we lost Whitney or, oh, we lost Pete. No, we lost 3 of the show's strongest fucking characters. We lost Lex, we lost fucking Lionel, and we lost the female lead. So I kind of approached 8 with a bit of, really? I thought it was surprisingly decent. I don't know what happened with the last 2 seasons. I don't know whether they're running out of money for cast members or they were just running out of ideas as well. I thought the first season without Lionel, Lex, and mostly Lana, though I did appreciate her guest stint, I thought that was mostly a pretty strong season. The Doomsday storyline was really interesting. This season worked. I do think that killing off Jimmy was a huge fucking mistake. I don't understand why they did that. But for the most part, I thought season 8 was pretty decent. I mean, it was way better than I was expecting, considering the cast changes. Anyway, what are we up to now? 5. Season 7, I will give to 5. I like season 7. There's a lot of really good episodes. There's a lot of good stories. I'm not keen on that whole thing, the whole thing with the Traveler. Where did that come from? It's like they just plucked that out of their ass at the last moment. Apparently, maybe the writer's strike had something to do with it, because that just seemed to come completely out of nowhere. Apparently, Lionel knew all about it the whole time. What? What? No, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. There are some good episodes. As much as I dislike losing John Glover, the episode where Lex murders him is a fucking phenomenal episode, and Lex completely going over the line, losing it entirely. There's some great stuff in season 7. It's just a little bit flawed. And in many ways, it's the last, as I've seen a YouTube video say, it's the last normal season of Smallville before it started changing, arguably, into a different show entirely, really. What are we up to now? 4. Season 2. I like season 2. It's very like season 1, though there is more of an attention to like arc stories rather than just Monster of the Week, though we still get plenty of them. We've removed Whitney, thank Christ, and replaced him with John Glover as Lionel as a full-time regular, which immediately shoots this up in my estimation, because any scene with Lionel, let alone Lionel and Lex together, instant fucking gold. Yes, 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 yes. 3. Season 6. Now, apparently, again, I'm not really au fait with Smallville fandom. Apparently, this is not a popular season. I was absolutely riveted by it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I thought the whole thing with Lana and Lex and Clark and Lionel was just so deliciously twisted and dark and fucked up. It was absolutely thoroughly gripping and compelling. I loved that whole season. I was on the edge of my seat. I couldn't remember most of Smallville. I remember his dad died, and I remember Lex killed Lionel, and I remember Jimmy died. But individual episodes and overall stories, I remember some of the main characters, kind of like Wicked Science. I remember the main characters and maybe a couple of major moments, but otherwise I didn't remember individual episodes or anything like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Season 2 is a pretty solid season. 2. Season 3. I think season 3 is definitely the best of at least the first 4 seasons. It really, I mean, Lionel is the overarching bad guy of season 3. And he's getting just ever darker and ever more despicable and evil. And John Glover is just such a fantastic villain as he just pushes all out to find out the secret and get close to what's going on. As we find out, there is he's a bad guy anyway. But the reason why he's getting so extreme is he's dying, and he's got an incurable disease, and he's hoping that he can cure himself by finding out what's going on. Finding out Clark's secret and the secret of the kryptonite and all the rest of it. And he'll go to any length to do it. I thought season 3 was an absolutely cracking season. Really enjoyable. Yep, love season 3. My overall favourite season, number 1, I'm sure you guessed by now, season 5. I thought season 5 was really strong. I thought James Masters made a great villain. I mean, I loved seeing him come back in season 7 as well. I thought he was a great season. The overarching villain of the whole season of season 5 was Brainiac, and I thought James Masters did a fantastic job. I mean, no surprise, any Buffy fan knows that James Masters is a fantastic actor, and he makes a great villain. And yeah, loved him throughout the season. Plenty of great storylines. The whole thing, Jonathan's death, that whole episode is an absolute cracker. And poor old Lana getting so thoroughly gaslit that Lex is the only person who seems to be telling her the truth. And I love the delicious irony of that, how horrible it is, and that Clark has... Clark gets on your tits sometimes with how reluctant he is to tell Lana, especially when there are points when practically half the town fucking knows. But it's like after the Jonathan episode, he has very good reason not to tell her rather than just not trusting her. He's terrified of what will happen to her, and he's trying to protect her, but by trying to protect her, he's lying to her and gaslighting her, and she knows it, and it just starts pushing her more towards Lex. I think it just puts her in even more danger. And I mean, it's so fucked up. And I love season 5. Again, it was thoroughly gripping. I really enjoyed that season. That's my favourite season, at least from this review, which was, again, was almost like a new show, because I've been so long since I've seen it, I barely remembered any of it. Anyway, that's my season ranking for Smallville. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I do think it's interesting. I do think Smallville was probably better than I gave it credit for. There's some great seasons and there's some great episodes. It went on. It did go on too long. It went on at least 2 seasons too long, in my opinion. And I think certainly on first viewing, because like I said, I wasn't collecting them or anything like that. I was just watching it on the telly. I certainly think on first viewing, those last 2 seasons really just sapped any enthusiasm to rewatch the show, which is very unfortunate, because I said there's some great stuff. I think next time, and there probably will be a next time I'll probably stop at 7 or 8. I certainly won't be watching the last 2 seasons again. I thought they were really disappointing. That last episode was piss poor as well. Just ugh. But again, that's not the only show that's done that. Let's face it, there's plenty of shows that's gone on too long. The X-Files and that 70s show spring to mind. And the whole Alison Mack thing is unfortunate and very cognitive dissonance inducing, because you watch the show and you still love Chloe, and it's like, I can't stand the confusion in my mind. That's just fucking weird, dude. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you again soon.